Your boy and mine. Let's give it up for Paul. Let's give it Paul Tinker. Paul.
Hey guys!
Hey, Paul!
Hey! Like you just said, my name's Paul. I just turned 24 years old. I love hot Cheetos. Today I get the good opportunity to talk to you guys and telling you a little bit about myself and also telling you a story. So when I was in like 5th grade, me, my brother, my mom, and my sister, we moved like 3 times in a year and a half. And me and my brother were still in school at the time, so it's kind of tough because, you know, we left all the people we loved, like all our friends and everything, and we moved to a new school. And I remember going in the first day I transferred over, I was like, oh man, I'm kind of nervous going in here because I don't know anybody, I just left all my friends, and I'm going into a school where I just don't feel like I belong. So I remember I walked in the front doors and I look around and I just see all these people that I didn't know. I couldn't name a person that I knew. And I felt like they were looking back at me and was like, who is this guy? Who is this new guy? And they would kind of turn to their friends and talk. So I was like, oh, maybe they don't like me. Maybe what I'm wearing. Maybe I don't know if something's wrong with the way I look. So I immediately when I went in, I felt like I didn't belong to that place. I remember the lunch bell ringing and my stomach kind of churning because I was really nervous because once again I didn't know anybody. I didn't know where to sit at lunch. So I get in line. It turns out it's chicken finger day, which is my favorite day. So I was like, okay, this isn't too bad. Today's gonna be a great day. Get my chicken fingers, got my tray in my hand, I walk out the line and I look around and I'm like, oh God, maybe today isn't gonna be a great day. I was just hoping somebody would come up and be like, hey man, you wanna come sit at our table? Hey, you wanna be my friend? Didn't happen. And that was tough because I didn't belong. I felt like everybody in that lunchroom was having a good time. They just saw me and was like, we don't like this guy. And that reminds me of a story in the Bible that I love. And the Bible is kind of like this history of us and God and how we interact with one another. And in the Bible, there's this gospel called Mark. And the gospel kind of tells us about who Jesus is. And you may be wondering, who is Jesus? It says in the Bible that Jesus is the visible expression of the invisible God. So Jesus, God put on flesh and lived with us and came in the neighborhood and hung out with us. That's who Jesus is. So I'm going to read this story and we're going to talk about it. This is in Mark chapter 1, verse 40. It says, Jesus heals a man with leprosy. A man with leprosy came and knelt in front of Jesus, begging to be healed. If you're willing, you can heal me and make me clean, he says. So this man has leprosy, and leprosy is a skin disease. It affects your skin and your nervous system. So you'll get these sores all over your skin, and they kind of ooze stuff out of them. It smells bad. Nobody really wants to be around you because of that. And back then, people thought that if you had this disease, that you had done something bad, that you had sinned against God, and He was punishing you because of that. So like, you have leprosy now because you've done something bad. That's totally not true, but that's what people thought. So not only were they considered nasty and kind of disgusting by everybody else, they also were kind of considered to be bad people because people thought they had sinned against God. And lepers, they were looked down upon, and they were outcasts from the town. Like they had to live on the outskirts, away from everybody, so they wouldn't come in contact with a leper. So if they did want to come in town, say they wanted to come in town for the day, they would have to yell at the top of their lungs, "Unclean, unclean!" And then they could come in. But if they didn't say that, they could possibly be put to death because people risked getting leprosy from them. So you can imagine these people don't feel great. I mean, they've probably gone through a lot. People don't want to be around them. This man in the book, it says that he ran and knelt before Jesus. He was probably desperate. It said he begged Jesus. And I can kind of sense a sense of desperation there from him because he had probably been betrayed by his family, betrayed by his friends. He said, you have leprosy now. We don't want anything to do with you. So he was probably feeling a lot of those things that I was feeling in the lunchroom. Feeling like I didn't belong. Feeling like I was kind of lonely. Like nobody liked me. Like nobody wanted to have anything to do with me. Have you guys ever felt that way? because I know I have. And this is tough. It's not a great thing. And he says, if you are willing, you can heal me. So he knows there's something special about Jesus. He says, I kind of said this earlier, that Jesus put on flesh, or God put on flesh through Jesus and came and lived with us. He knew that Jesus was just not an ordinary man, that he was something special. So he came down and begged to Jesus, you heal me. And what I love is Jesus, it says here, it says, moved with compassion, Jesus reached out and touched him. He said, I am willing. He said, be healed. Instantly the leprosy disappeared and the man was healed. Then Jesus sent him on his way with a stern warning. Don't tell anyone about this. Instead, go to the priest and let him examine you. Take along the offering required in the law of Moses for those who have been healed of leprosy. This will be a public testimony that you have been cleansed. So Jesus was like, you know what? Absolutely. It says he was moved with compassion. And that's kind of like empathy. If you don't know what empathy is, like Jesus kind of shared an experience. Like he knew exactly how he felt because he had felt that way before. He knew what it felt like to be lonely and to be an outcast. He knew how this man felt. And when he looked at him, he was moved with compassion. Most people look at this man and was like, oh my God, what's wrong with him? You look terrible. A lot of us have those things. Maybe, some of our insecurities are like, I don't look good enough. I'm not handsome enough, or clothes I don't wear don't look good enough. When you walk into school, you're like, man, this man, the leper, is kind of like wearing his biggest insecurity on his skin. Imagine yourself in that situation. When you walk into school, you have to wear your biggest insecurity on your skin, or your deepest, darkest secret on your skin. That's how this man feels. And that would be really tough. But it says Jesus was moved with compassion. He loved this man no matter what. No matter his circumstance, no matter what was on his skin, no matter what he did before. He didn't care. He loved him as he was. And then it says he touched him. I think this is my favorite part of the story because it said Jesus touched a leper. This man probably hadn't been touched in a long, long time. And the cool thing is that Jesus knew exactly what he needed. He needed to be touched. And he needed somebody that would be his friend, that would show him love, because it had been a long time since somebody had probably done that. And I think that's so cool. Jesus touched him on his leprosy, his most insecure, his biggest insecurity. I think that's so cool. That Jesus came running to this man. He came running to him when he cried out to Jesus, and Jesus answered. And I think often we think of like, God's too big. He created this whole universe. He created everything. There's no way he would look for my problems or care about my problems. Because if he created the planets and the universe, he wouldn't care about me. But I think that's not true at all. I think it says right here that when the leper cried out, he answered his call. He said, be healed. He healed this man of what it is. So I think if you guys maybe questioning that's fine. That's A-okay. I think we all have questions, but know when you leave here that we all have problems. We all have insecurities. I have a ton of them. But when we cry out to Jesus, he's there. Know that. And when he looks at you, like he looked at the leper, he's moved with compassion. He loves you dearly because he created you. I hope you guys know that. And I want to ask you a question. You don't have to answer it here, but just kind of think about this today, maybe this week. But do you think God would punish you for something you've done? Do you think he would do that? No. Because I don't think he would. That's just my opinion, but you can think about that. So I'm going to pray, and then I think we're going to this is my time.
Hold tight, that's what we pray.
Let me pray real quick, and then we'll hold tight. Thank you guys for being here. Lord, thank you for WyldLife. Thank you for bringing everybody here, and thank you for fun, and thank you so much for loving us. In your name I pray. Amen. Amen.